Ladies and gentlemen, tennis enthusiasts, sports lovers, and fans tuning in from every corner of the globe, welcome. Today, we are unpacking a story that has absolutely set the sporting world ablaze, a narrative of triumph, resilience, and sheer athletic brilliance that will be talked about for years to come. We are here to talk about the 2026 Birmingham Open, a tournament that just witnessed one of the most spellbinding, heart-stopping, and narrative-shifting finals in recent memory. If you thought you knew how the grass court season was going to unfold this year, I implore you to throw those predictions out the window. Alexandra Eala, the 21-year-old Filipina sensation, has just done the unthinkable, capturing the championship title at the Rossi Classic in Birmingham in a manner that has left the entire tennis universe in a state of absolute shock and awe. This is not just another tournament victory. This is a monumental statement on one of the most challenging surfaces in the sport. Grass court tennis is unforgiving. It is fast, it is slippery. The bounces are low and demand a level of precision and footwork that takes years, sometimes a lifetime, to master. Yet, Alexandra Eala has conquered with the grace of a veteran and the hunger of a rising superstar. The sheer magnitude of this win cannot be overstated. Eala, who has been steadily climbing the ranks of the Women's Tennis Association, entered the Birmingham Open as the top seed, carrying the weight of expectations and the hopes of an entire nation on her shoulders. But being the top seed and actually navigating the treacherous waters of a professional tennis tournament to lift the trophy are two completely different realities. And to do it against a formidable opponent like Nikola Bardunkova, a player who represents a nation with an incredibly rich pedigree in tennis, makes this achievement all the more staggering. The tennis world is shocked not simply because Eala won, but because of how she won, who she had to overcome to do it, and what this victory signifies in the grander landscape of her rapidly ascending career. This was a battle that stretched for an agonizing and exhilarating 2 hours and 37 minutes. It was a true test of physical endurance and mental fortitude. When a match goes a distance, when you drop the first set in a grueling 12-game battle, lesser players would crumble. They would let the frustration of the surface, the pressure of the final, and the momentum of their opponents swallow them whole. But Alexandra Eala is not built like a conventional player. She possesses a rare, almost terrifying competitive fire that only burns brighter when her back is against the wall. Let us set the stage for a moment. The Edgbaston Priory Club in Birmingham is hallowed ground. It has served as the ultimate testing facility for Wimbledon hopefuls for decades. The legends of the game have graced these courts, utilizing the specific, rapid conditions of the Birmingham grass to fine-tune their weapons before heading to the All-England Club. To win here is to announce to the world that you are a legitimate threat on grass. And for Alexandra Eala, a player who grew up far from the traditional grass court hubs of Europe, this victory is a testament to her extraordinary adaptability and her relentless work ethic. She has completely shattered the narrative that her game is strictly tailored for hard courts or clay. She has proven that her heavy, left-handed ground strokes, her beautifully disguised drop shots, and her vastly improved serve can absolutely dismantle opponents on the quickest surface the sport has to offer. But the layers of this story go much deeper than just the surface. This victory in Birmingham represents the breaking of a psychological barrier that has haunted Eala in recent times. In the tennis community, we have been talking quietly about the so-called Czech curse that seemed to have befallen her. Over the past year, Eala has faced crushing defeats at the hands of elite Czech players. We watched her battle valiantly, but ultimately fall to former Wimbledon champion Barbara Krejcikova. We saw her struggle to find answers against another Wimbledon champion, Marketa Vondrousova. And perhaps most painfully, we remember her agonizing exit at the Miami Open earlier this year in a round of 16 at the hands of Karolina Machova. The Czech Republic produces some of the most tactically astute, technically flawless players on the women's tour. They play with distinct style, often utilizing slice angles and immense court craft that can unravel even most powerful hitters. Heading into the final against Nikola Bardunkova, the 5th seed and a rising Czech star herself, the ghosts of those past defeats must have been lingering in the back of Eala's mind. The media certainly brought it up. The pundits questioned if Eala had the tactical maturity to finally solve the Czech puzzle. And my goodness, did she ever provide an answer? But it was not an easy answer. It was an answer forged in the fires of a blistering first-set defeat. Bardunkova came out swinging, utilizing that classic Czech variety, keeping the ball low, disrupting Eala's rhythm, and eventually snatching the first set 7-5. At that moment, the tennis world held its breath. We wondered, is history repeating itself? Is the curse real? Is the pressure of the final, combined with a stylistic matchup, proving to be too much for the young Filipina? The silence from Eala's supporters was palpable. But champions are not defined by how they start. They are defined by how they respond when the chips are down. And the response we witnessed from Alexandra Eala in the second and third sets of this championship match was nothing short of legendary. She did not panic. She did not drastically alter her game plan in a fit of desperation. Instead, she doubled down on her strengths. She found another gear physically, chasing down balls that seemed destined for the pristine Birmingham grass, turning defense into explosive offense with a single swing of her left-handed racket. She leveled the match by taking the second set 6-3, asserting her dominance and sending a clear message to Bardankova. You're going to have to go to absolute war if you want to take this trophy from me. The entire dynamic of the match shifted. The momentum swung violently in Eala's favor, and the crowd at the Edgbaston Priory Club, recognizing the heart and the sheer will of the 21-year-old, rallied behind her. This is why we watch sports. This is the drama, the unscripted theater that keeps us glued to our screens. The world was watching a young woman confront her demons, battle a ferocious opponent, and emerge victorious on one of the most prestigious stages in tennis. And as she finally secured a deciding set, 7-5, falling to the grass in pure disbelief and elation, the entire tennis world erupted in collective shock and admiration. Alexandra Eala had not just won a tournament. She had vanquished the Czech curse. She had conquered the grass, and she had cemented her status as one of the most formidable forces on the WTA Tour. Now, let's transition into our deep dive analysis of exactly how this miraculous victory unfolded, the mechanics of the match, the strategic adjustments, and the broader implications for Alexandra Eala's season and the landscape of women's tennis. To truly understand the magnitude of this win, we must dissect the battle that took place between the lines. 2 hours and 37 minutes of relentless shot-making. Let's talk about Nikola Bardankova. She is not a player to be taken lightly. Seated fifth in the tournament, the Czech star came into this final with a clear game plan: exploit the grass, keep the ball out of Eala's strike zone, and utilize her exceptional defensive skills to force errors. And for the first hour of the match, that plan worked to perfection. The opening set was a masterclass in tension. Both players held their serves relatively comfortably in the early going. Eala's serve, which has seen significant improvement under the guidance of her coaching team, Joan Bosch and Alexandra Eala, was firing well. But Bardankova was incredibly resilient. In Eala's third service game, Bardankova pushed her to deuce 3 separate times. The pressure was mounting. Eala responded like a veteran, firing a sensational forehand winner deep into the corner to hold serve and keep the set level. But the relentless pressure from the Czech player finally paid off late in the set. At 5 games apiece, Bardankova engineered a crucial break point. She forced Eala into an uncomfortable rally, eventually drawing the error and taking a 6-5 lead. Serving for the set, Bardankova did not blink. She closed it out 7-5, and suddenly, Eala found herself in a massive hole. Historically, when Eala has dropped a tight first set against a Czech opponent, she has struggled to claw her way back. The tactical nuance of the Czech style often requires a complete mental reset, something that is incredibly difficult to execute in the heat of a final. But this is where we saw the evolution of Alexandra Eala. The player who stepped onto the court for the second set was not the same player who lost the first. She was more aggressive, stepping inside the baseline, taking the ball earlier, and robbing Bardankova the time she needed to set up her defensive slices. Eala's two-handed backhand, which is arguably one of the most lethal weapons on the tour today, began to find its mark with devastating accuracy. She started hitting down the line with incredible pace, leaving Bardankova stranded. Eala broke Bardankova early in the second set, establishing a lead that she would never relinquish. She was serving with immense confidence, hitting her spots, and dictating the rallies from the center of the court. The 6-3 scoreline in the second set was not just a mathematical equalizer. It was a psychological hammer blow. It demonstrated that Eala had figured out the puzzle. But the third set, the decider, was an absolute dogfight. Neither player was willing to yield an inch. It was a test of supreme fitness. After 2 hours of grueling tennis on a surface that demands so much from the lower body, you can see the fatigue setting in, but the adrenaline of a championship final pushes athletes beyond their perceived limits. The third set went back and forth. Games were tightly contested. Break points were saved with miraculous shot-making, and the tension in the stadium was thick enough to cut with knife. At 5 games all, we reached the crescendo of the match. This was the moment where champions are made. Eala, relying on her incredible court coverage and her unwavering belief, managed to secure the decisive break against Bardankova's serve. It was a monumental effort, a display of pure grit, serving for the championship at 6-5. The pressure must have been unimaginable. She was serving for her second career WTA 125 title, serving to break a personal curse, serving to make history for her country. And she delivered. With a final, unreturnable serve, Alexandra Eala claimed the victory, dropping her racket and letting the emotion wash over her. 5-7, 6-3, 7-5. A scoreline that tells a story of an epic, unforgettable battle. This victory is a culmination of an extraordinary journey that began long before she set foot in Birmingham. Let us rewind and look at the trajectory that brought her to this moment. Alexandra Eala has been a prodigy from a very young age. We all remember her incredible junior career, winning junior Grand Slam titles in doubles, and showing flashes of absolute brilliance in singles. But the transition from the junior ranks to the professional tour is famously brutal. Many incredibly talented juniors never managed to find their footing against the seasoned veterans of the WTA. Eala, however, has navigated this transition with remarkable poise and continuous improvement. The turning point, the moment the world truly woke up to her immense potential, came during the 2025 season. Her historic run at the Miami Open, where she reached the semifinals, was nothing short of a revelation. Let me remind you the path she tore through in Miami. She defeated Jelena Ostapenko, Madison Keys, and the formidable IGA Swiatek. These are Grand Slam champions, the absolute elite of the sport. To string together victories of that magnitude on one of the biggest stages in tennis proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that Eala belongs at the top of the game. That run propelled her into the top 50 of the world rankings. She followed that up later in 2025 by winning her first WTA 125 title at the Guadalajara Open in Mexico, proving that she could handle the pressure of closing out a tournament. She reached a career-high ranking of world number 29 in March of 2026, making her the highest-ranked Filipino player in WTA Tour history. She is not just playing for herself. She is carrying the flag for an entire region that is incredibly passionate about sports, but has rarely seen one of their own reach the absolute pinnacle of international tennis. Her impact goes far beyond the court. She is inspiring a completely new generation of athletes in the Philippines and across Southeast Asia. And now, with this victory on the grass in Birmingham, she has added a completely new dimension to her resume. Grass court tennis requires a specific skill set. The ball skids, it stays incredibly low, and you have to be comfortable bending your knees, staying agile, and reacting in fractions of a second. Eala has shown that she possesses not only the power to hit through the court, but the touch and the finesse to manage the unique challenges of the surface. This is terrifying news for the rest of the tour. If Alexandra Eala can dominate on hard courts and now conquer grass, she is rapidly becoming an all-surface threat. Furthermore, this victory provided a massive injection of confidence and momentum as we look ahead to the rest of the grass court season, culminating, of course, at the hallowed grounds of Wimbledon. Before this latest ranking update, Eala was sitting at world number 37. This championship victory, along with the 125 crucial ranking points she has secured, will propel her up the ladder once again. She also takes home a champion's prize of nearly $20,000. But more importantly than the money or the points, she takes home the knowledge that she can outlast, outthink, and outplay top-tier opponents in the most high-pressure situations imaginable. And the challenge does not stop here. The tennis calendar is relentless. Immediately following this historic triumph in Birmingham, Eala is set to travel to West Kensington to compete in the main draw of the Queen's Club Championships. She was initially slated to be a qualifier, but her status and her recent performances have rightly earned her a spot in the main draw. This is another massive opportunity for her to showcase her skills on grass against an incredibly stacked field. Her first-round opponent at Queen's Club will be the experienced Chinese veteran, Zhang Shuai. This is going to be a fascinating matchup. Zhang Shuai has been on the tour for years. She knows how to construct points. She is incredibly solid off both wings, and she brings a wealth of experience to court. But right now, trying to stop Alexandra Eala on grass seems like trying to stop a freight train. Eala is playing with the kind of freedom and confidence that only comes from winning a grueling championship match. If she can maintain the level of aggression she showed in the final 2 sets against Bardankova, if she can continue to serve with authority and utilize her lethal backhand, she is going to be incredibly difficult to beat at Queen's Club. As we transition to the conclusion of our extensive coverage, I want to take a moment to reflect on the broader significance of what we have just witnessed. In the world of professional sports, we are often quick to anoint the next big thing. We see a flash of brilliance from a young athlete, and we immediately project a decade of dominance onto their shoulders. It is an unfair burden, and many crumble under the weight of those massive expectations. Alexandra Eala has dealt with this immense pressure since she was a teenager. The spotlight in the Philippines is incredibly bright, and the desire for a global sporting icon is profound. What makes Eala so special is not just her athletic gifts, her speed, her power, her wonderful left-handed angles. What makes her special is her mind. The mental resilience required to lose a heartbreaking first set in a championship final against an opponent from a country that has historically been your Achilles heel and turn that match around through sheer force of will is something you cannot teach. You either have that fire, that refusal to accept defeat, or you do not. Alexandra Eala possesses it in abundance. She has broken the Czech curse. She has proven herself on the incredibly difficult surface of grass. She has captured her second career WTA 125 title. She is a top 30 caliber player who is still only 21 years old. The ceiling for this young woman is non-existent. She is actively rewriting the history books for Philippine tennis with every single match she plays. When she steps on the grass at Wimbledon later this summer, she will not be viewed simply as a talented young player or an underdog. She will be viewed as a legitimate contender, a champion who has proven she can go the distance and win on the surface. This victory at the 2026 Birmingham Open will be remembered as a massive milestone in her career. It is the moment she proved her versatility, her endurance, and her absolute refusal to be denied. To Nicola Bardankova, we offer immense respect for a phenomenal tournament and a brilliant final. She played her heart out and pushed Eala to the absolute limit. But this week, this tournament, and this incredible moment belong to Alexandra Eala. For everyone watching, for every young athlete who dreams of making it on the global stage, let this match be a masterclass in perseverance. Let it remind you that a bad start does not dictate a bad ending, that curses are meant to be broken, and that with enough heart, talent, and relentless hard work, you can shock the entire world. We are witnessing the rise of a true superstar, and I, for one, cannot wait to see what she does next. Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive into one of the most thrilling moments of the 2026 tennis season. If you enjoyed this comprehensive breakdown, if you felt the passion and the excitement of this incredible story, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with every tennis fan you know. Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts on Alexandra Eala's miraculous comeback. How far do you think she can go at Wimbledon this year? Can she make a deep run at Queen's Club? The conversation continues down in the comment section, and I read absolutely everything you guys post. We will be tracking Eala's progress very closely, providing you with all the updates, analysis, and breaking news as she continues her incredible journey on the WTA Tour. Until next time, keep your eyes on the courts, keep supporting the great sport of tennis, and I will see you in the next deep dive. Take care, everyone.